Alright, today we're having a second look at a demo by Kronos 453. Alright, so here we are in a demo by Kronos 453, and this is the second level in an adventure that Kronos is going to be putting together, or is putting together at the moment, and hopefully we'll have finished. It's going to be a 5-level adventure, excuse me. And it's kind of a shooting mechanic like this. Now, you may recall that we did take a look at an earlier demo for the first level from Kronos. And this is definitely a step up in difficulty. I played through on the stream, did poorly, and I just played through a little bit earlier for practice so that I didn't make a complete arse out of myself. Now, we'll be looking in the hub, but they do. Kronos does let us know what the controls are. There are a number of different attacks and abilities that your ship has. There's the hyper beam that we saw just there. Oh, I'm buggering it up right now, aren't I? There's a hyper beam that we saw there. We've got semi-homing rockets. Though sometimes those rockets don't always go exactly where you might want them to go. I did not need to use that rocket there. That was a mistake. That was a mistake on my part. And so basically what we're trying to do is, as with any shooter, not die. Kill everything. There's a color swap. Darn it, hit the wrong button. A color swap ability that if you are touching the same color attack, that you'll be able to absorb that attack and at least not take damage from it. You've got a dash, and if you do dash, it will... if you use dash too much, you'll take damage, but at least for the time that you are dashing, that you'll be able to avoid damage from attacks, which can be very important, particularly for the boss. Well, the mid-boss, I guess? We'll talk about that part in the hub as well. We're doing, frankly, better than we generally do. And I think we're coming up on the mid-boss with about a minute to go. We'll probably let this run a little bit long. Here we are. Well, this is going to be our boss. We have to fight a mid-boss before this. They're locking on. I love the look of this level. I haven't really been able to talk a lot because of kind of processing a lot of things while trying to explain what's going on. But the level look is just really, really nice. The enemies are very clear, very distinct. Your bullets, your shots can fade a little bit. The light orange color can make it a little bit difficult to see them sometimes, but even still, you can figure out where you are shooting without too much difficulty. We're actually doing a lot better than I expected, although I think my score will probably be worse than the last time that I actually beat the level. And I just love the inventiveness of the attacks of the different ships and the different bosses. It is really, really cool. I got the timer going right there, but I can't really stop, but we see where the dodge does come in handy to actually get out of that attack. And that's the one attack that I think you do need to dodge. I don't believe that you're actually fast enough to get through that otherwise. Now, interestingly enough, I found this boss to be, and watch me get killed, but I found this boss to be a lot easier than the previous boss, and I don't know necessarily why that might be, except perhaps that there isn't that Ring of Death attack that we do see in a lot of these kind of Toho-esque style games. Try to get myself out of the way of these shots. That was very, very lucky, by the way. But, I mean, this is very WYSIWYG. If this is a style of game that you enjoy, then there's probably a good chance that you will enjoy this level and enjoy the adventure when it is finally released. Oh, bugger. Oh, no. I don't want to die here. I don't want to die here. Crap. That sucked. Alright. Well, we unfortunately died. That does bring a tear to my eye, a little bit of shame. But that is Kronos's demo, and we're going to be talking about that back in the hub, so we'll see you there. See ya! And we're back, and a demo by Kronos 453. And it's a level in the end that I'm really happy to give a green circle to. There's a lot of good going on here. There's very, very little that I could complain about, and I think that a lot of that would have to do with your own enjoyment of this particular type of game and your own level of skill with this game. And I know that I may not have presented the best face of the level while we were playing in the video. It was really quite difficult to split my attention 3 ways between trying to show everything off, explain what was going on the screen, and actually play with some degree of skill. When I went back to play for the pips, and it was a much smoother experience, so if you felt that it might have looked too difficult from what you saw in the video, it really isn't quite as bad as that when you are actually able to focus on what's going on. Now, like with a lot of these, bullet hell style games, a lot of the level progression and being able to clear the level is going to be getting rid of enemies as soon as possible, as soon as they show up on the screens, because if you leave them on the screens too long, then the bullets are just going to fill it up and it's going to be too difficult to dodge around. But because the enemy patterns are consistent, you're playing it over and over again, and you'll remember that, okay, at this point, these 3 enemies are going to show up, so I've got to be over on the left side of the screen to handle them. Now, there are some kind of warning bars that do show up to let you know that things are going to be coming, but exactly what's coming is going to be part of your memory in dealing with the level. None of the enemies individually are too difficult. They've all got their own particular attack patterns. Some are a little bit beefier and bulkier than others. You'll want to break out the hyper beam for those round enemies because they do take quite a lot of regular shots to deal with. But for the most part, as long as you're on top of them, as long as you're doing things fairly quickly, you can get rid of them, well, fairly quickly. All of that is great, and the ship as well, I like the way that the ship handled, I like the different abilities, and I appreciated the fact that these abilities were explained to us in a kind of a semi-title card when you first start the level. In the previous demo that we looked at back in episode 84 of Little Bite-Sized Planet, that was back in December 2018, and the controls were kind of hidden on the level select page, and they were a little bit easy to miss, a little bit easy to ignore. Here, you can't really miss them. They're right there in your face, and I really, really appreciated that. I like the sound design, and I like the music that was done in the level. The little touch of humor that we saw at the very beginning, when you're flying in and one of the enemy ships kind of gets hit and spins out and blows up, I thought that was really, really cool. The 2 bosses in the level, as we saw in the video. There's the one that's made up of the spinning circles that goes around, and then there's the actual observer core that we see here. We're going to see in a pip, actually. I found the spinny circle boss to be the more difficult of the 2 because the attacks tended to fill the screen, and it was a little bit more difficult for me to keep track of where all the different bullets were. Although we did end up dying on the observer core, I do feel that while the fight itself is a little bit more of an interesting fight, it is also a little bit of an easier fight. Now, there's a thing of easiness and difficulty levels here, and I think that there's a slight disservice to the level playing it individually, playing it by itself, unconnected to other things, because this is going to be part of an adventure. So there's going to be a level that the demo that we looked at previously is going to be coming before this. This will be the second stage. There will be a third, and then a third, fourth, and fifth. I think Chrono said there's only going to be 5 stages. So if you just jump into this one, and it may feel like the difficulty curve is really, really sharp, but I think that playing this as a full set, and you'll be eased into that difficulty, so it's not quite as much of a slap in the face, or it won't be quite as much of a slap in the face. And getting used to the controls and when to use the controls, I think, will be a lot easier when you've got the first level played already, and you've kind of gotten used to how these different abilities work in an easier environment. One that I had trouble with, and it's not necessarily just in this level, but anytime I've seen this in like Toho style games or bullet hell style games, the switching the color of the ship so that you can pick up health. Now, if you're really quick on the fly with that, you could probably go through the entire level without taking any damage at all, because you're just repairing yourself whenever you do, or at least ignoring damage, by getting the right shots, hitting the right shots with the right colors. I'm not particularly good at that, and I think that as the adventure continues, I'm probably going to hit a wall eventually as that becomes more and more necessary. You can get through this stage, you can get through this level without utilizing that ability so much, but it is you know, technically stage 2 of a grander thing, so it's probably going to be more necessary as we go on. And really, there's not too much to complain about. Difficulty level, but as I said, it is going to be part of a greater package, so that's not quite so bad. You could say that the bullets, your own ship bullets, can fade out a little bit because they're that orange color and the background is a brownish yellow. But that's not really such a big deal, and I didn't find it too hard to track where I was throwing those shots. So really, I'm very, very happy with this, and I'd like to push people to play it and push people to beat it, because so far it's just Kronos and me on the scoreboard. We're the only 2 people who have completed the level, and that's just a crying shame. I think that all of you can do better, so give it a shot, see what you think, then give it another couple of shots until you get really good at it, and then you can at least knock me off the second place of the scoreboard. Kronos, you did an excellent job, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what else you're going to be doing with this adventure. But I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to say, and this is take 10 of this video, so I think I don't want to record it again, so we're gonna let things go from here. So from me, Risco, here in Osaka, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, arigasamudota, sayonara, see you, and ciao.